Hey guys, this is my very first video I've ever made, and I wanted to make a video because I've been having a lot of vivid dreams in the past month or so. My wife has been having some. I know there are tons of brothers and sisters that are having dreams right now, and it's just crazy everything that's going on, and I just felt like needed to make a video because I'd kind of like to get some interpretation on it, and possibly some even validation too, because I know for my wife there are a lot of these dreams that she's had, and I mean there's people sharing a piece in their dream that matches up to hers. So I mean it's just crazy. Our God is amazing and is most definitely giving us the dreams, of what's to come. And I know that verse, Acts 2:17, it's one of the main ones, that it shall come to pass in the last day, saith God, I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. So I do believe that is definitely the case. I've never in my life had so many vivid dreams, and I mean they're just so clear that I can remember every detail. Just thinking about them now, I can just go through and if I could paint everything that I've seen, I could just have a storybook of what I've had lately. So it's just crazy. So but I just wanted to make a video, just so everybody can kind of see if maybe they've had something similar too. Mine started, I want to say, probably about the beginning part of November, and I've just been making a log. So every time I had a dream, I would just write it down. And my very first one that I had, the very first night, the one I remember the most, I was standing outside and I saw a FedEx jet falling out of the sky. And I was standing there, I saw, the pilot, he was trying to save it because it was starting to swirl down. And it was in a really highly populated area. So I don't know where I was, but I just distinctly remember seeing FedEx on the tail of the jet, and then just watching it go down, and then the explosion, and then that was all I remember of that dream. And so the first dream, I wrote it down because that was extremely vivid, and I knew, well, maybe this is something significant. So when I started having that, another one came. And the second dream that I had, I'd say is probably 2 nights later. The second dream, all the power all across the United States went out for 3 days. There was no water, there was no phones, there was absolutely nothing. And all of a sudden, after the third day, all the power came back on. So, the whole 3 day of darkness, I guess that's could be what that's signifying. I don't know. But kind of once I got that dream, I started, praying for kind of confirmation. And I started, asking God to kind of show me, like, if these are the really vivid dreams that I need to pay attention to, please give me more, and I will start writing them down and making notes. So, I already had a journal going, but, I just kind of wanted to see if this was, from him. And I mean, I truly believe it is. I don't question that at all. But at the time, when you go, 28 years of never remembering a dream, and then all of a sudden just having such a vivid dream that you wake up and you don't even feel like you slept, because you're just dreaming. And so it was just crazy. But and at work, I sit in an office building that has a lot of windows. So and there's a big interstate that's right outside the window. So from my desk at work, I could just kind of look out the window and I just watch the traffic, while I'm on the phone. And I remember that day, right after I had the power outage. I saw one of the trucks that passed by, and the truck trailer said EMP. And when I saw that, I thought, okay, well, EMP, that kind of adds up to, planes falling out of the sky, my FedEx jet. That kind of shows 3 days of darkness. That could definitely, something like that, having some sort of EMP attack. I mean, that'll most definitely take out all the power. So I don't know. When I saw that day on that truck trailer, I mean, it just stuck out to me. Because I can stare at traffic all day and not see anything, but I specifically saw EMP. So I knew that was kind of God's confirmation that, I am giving you these dreams. And so the next day, I remember a lot of the accounts, a lot of the numbers I saw, it was nothing but 666. And it was all over the place. And I really never really paid attention to it until then, until I started seeing how much 666 there was and kind of signifying the evil. And then I would say probably, I didn't write down the day. I know it was about 3 or 4 days. It wasn't long afterwards. I had another dream, and my wife and our little dog and we were back in my hometown, back in West Texas, and we were walking around, and I saw in the distance that there was something smoking, and then out of nowhere there was a huge explosion, and it was a giant mushroom cloud. It was so huge you could barely see the top of it. And I remember trying to get my phone out, and I was trying to take pictures of it, and I was running in the house, trying to get away from it because I saw how huge this explosion was. And my mom was there. We were trying to scramble and get all the windows closed, get all the doors locked, and we're screaming and trying to get everything shut because this is coming for us. And then I remember I opened the door and I look outside and I saw a squirrel, a dead squirrel, just fall, as if there was some kind of gas. And because he wasn't burned, it wasn't anything like that. It was just like it was toxic. And then he fell. And then as that was happening, I could hear the TV was still on, and on TV, everyone was cheering and wanting Michelle Obama as president. And then I woke up, and it was just still so incredibly vivid. And that was pretty significant because I remember what was it, a couple weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, it came out that everybody just loves the Obamas, and they're wanting Michelle Obama as president. And I think just recently Oprah had a show interview with her, and she's like, no, I'm definitely not going to run for president. But it was just odd that was in my dream. And then right after that, kind of the same thing, I had another big dream. And this one, I've been seeing this so much lately, and it's kind of crazy how much I'm seeing of what is in my dream outside. I mean, it's just wild. So my wife and I, we were sitting outside in our backyard, and we were looking up. It was a clear day, looking up, and we saw 2 planes. One was a big double-decker. It was blue and yellow, this giant plane, and then there was 2 planes in front of it. So it was like 2 fighter jets and then this big double-decker plane. And the double-decker, that kind of stands out. That's not something that you see all the time. And so when I saw that, I started, this is of course after I woke up, I started Googling and trying to find a double-decker blue and yellow. And the only one that kept coming up was the Antonov AN-225 Ukraine cargo jet. And, back then, 3-4 weeks ago, I had never heard of Antonov in my life. And I feel like Antonov has just completely been in the news a lot lately, which I'll touch on in a minute. But in the dream, I could tell that particular jet, I could tell it was slowing down. And then I saw it start to nosedive. And when it started nosediving, you know, I knew that was it, because it started swirling and it was coming straight for us. And I remember the plane fell not far behind our house, and the explosion was so huge it blew my wife and I out of our chairs. And you know, we flew across the yard, and I remember the smoke, I remember the fire. You know, it was nothing like I've ever seen in my life. It was just like something out of a movie. And then as that happens, all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes this log, kind of like, you know, those tiny homes. It was like a log cabin, trailer type thing. It just came out of nowhere, fell from the sky, crashed through our back fence, and, you know, took out our trees and everything. And so my first thought when I saw it was, oh my gosh, somebody's in there. And so I take off running, you know, expecting to, you know, find the worst. And when I open the door, the only thing I see in there is a Christmas tree with presents still wrapped underneath it, as if it's never been touched. And so to me, that was signifying, you know, something around Christmas time. And like I said, this was back in November that I was having all this. So, you know, it just kind of made me think, you know, something around Christmas time is kind of, you know, what he's guiding me to. And I remember calling 911. It wasn't working. You know, the phone was down. And then when I finally did get connected to somebody, they acted like nothing had happened. You know, I was telling them this big explosion, everything just happened, and, you know, they acted like they didn't even care. And so it was just crazy. I mean, that's kind of, I'm going to make another video too, because I did have more. I don't want to, you know, have a 2-hour long video from my very first one. But I mean, those are just kind of the big main ones that I've had. And like the Antonov, I think I got my validation probably, I'd say, a week after I had that dream, maybe 2 weeks. A friend of my wife's had wrote, and because she had, you know, told him about my dream, and she had wrote, or he had wrote her, we were just waking up, it was like 6 in the morning, and sent a picture of the blue and yellow Antonov plane and said, hey, was this in your husband's dream? And, you know, she looks at it and she's like, oh my gosh, yes. And so she wakes me up, and so we're looking at it. We'll come and find out that was the exact plane that they went on Twitter and offered that particular plane to Trump. And so we saw the post, we saw where Trump, you know, said that Boeing was charging too much, and then they offered their Antonov plane to them, to him, you know, to be Air Force One. And so when I saw that, I mean, that was just kind of, that was a huge validation for me, just because I've never heard of this plane. I've never even seen this thing until that dream. You know, it was very vivid, huge plane, blue and yellow, and a double-decker, you know, 2 flights or 2, you know, levels on the plane. That's just not something you see all the time. So when we saw that, it was just like, oh my gosh, you know, this is really, really something that's happening. So I just wanted to make a video. I just wanted to share it with you. I'd love your feedback, you know, kind of know if you're having something similar to mine. And with everything going on, I mean, I know we're going to be flying soon. I know Jesus is coming. I can just feel it. You know, I feel it in my bones. This is just something, you know, that has gone on. All the prophecies are lining up. And, you know, so, I mean, I know that this is getting close. So, just wanted to share it with y'all. And then I'll make another one here in a bit, too, of the other dream. It's a smaller one, but it's still pretty significant. So, I'll talk to you guys later.